Hey everybody, what is happening?
Is it on repeat?
Why is it on repeat?
There we go.
Hey everybody, welcome back to the Movie Couple channel, and you are watching Movie Couple Live, the show where we talk about the latest news and movies and pop culture. I'm Wendy.
I'm Dustin.
And on today's show, we're talking all things spoilers for episode 7 of Andor.
We're also going to be talking about our initial thoughts for Tales of the Jedi.
And hey, HotD, that finale, it got leaked online. We're not going to spoil anything for you because you guys know we haven't caught up, but can you believe it?
That HotD,
yes and no.
HotD is leaking.
God, what's happening? All right, guys, welcome to the show. What a mess.
But that's how we normally are here. It's fun and
Yes.
exciting. You don't know what to expect. So grab your coffee, grab your boba, grab your liquid IV with your promo code of 15% of the Movie Couple for 15% off and free shipping.
There
I
you
today got some acai.
Acai berry. Acai
In
berry is
mine.
good.
Got to shake it up a little bit, and it's gonna be delicious.
Yeah, you guys, happy Saturday. It's a gloomy kind of a day, overcast day in LA, which I kind of love.
I am appreciating the gloom for the hiding the sun just for a little bit, because we went from 90 to 60s for our highs, and I'm enjoying it. I love it.
Yes, I absolutely love it. And we actually went to this one thing early in the morning. You guys, don't eat fried chicken early in the morning, like before noon.
Fried
Like,
chicken for breakfast can be a little rough on the tummy.
no go. But there's a place called Two Zone Chicken that opened up, and they were doing like a free tasting event. I was like, oh, free, you say?
Yeah, so it's
So
hard
we
to kind
went.
of pass up
Yeah.
free food.
It's Korean
so-
fried chicken. We always love Korean fried chicken. There's something that they do. I don't know what it is in the batter or the process of frying or the oil, whatever it may be. It is delicious because it's like light but crispy, and the meat is always juicy and tender. And they put all different kinds of sauces or seasoning on it. We got the honey butter one. If you guys have ever tried
Good.
the honey butter chips from H Mart, like any of the Korean honey butter chips, that is the flavor we got on our chicken. Oh my gosh, it was to die for. To die for. So
However, when we got home, our stomachs were a little bit like, what have you done to me? I enjoyed the taste, but now I'm paying the price.
why would you do this? So, but anyways, yeah, that's probably why we're a little bit nuttier this morning, because we woke up kind of late, and because we had, good thing we didn't go super early.
Yeah.
It was like we were like the second people there, and we showed up like,
I was thinking, free food. Okay, so that means everyone in town, everyone around, I thought there was going to be like a line down the street and around the corner. It never got that crazy. And plus, the one area that they have, like this little shopping center that they do have this restaurant in, the parking is god awful. And it is so hard to get in and out. And it was just one of those things that I was just like, oh my God, it's going to be a mess.
Yeah, that's what we
Wasn't
thought it was
that
going to be.
bad.
But yeah, it was actually okay. So before we get into our shows, we added some news topics because a lot of the shows that we were reacting to have ended.
No more She-Hulk. No more
Rings of Power.
Rings of Power. And we actually do have a lot of new stuff up on the channel. We do have Wendy's review for the Black Adam movie that came out. Non-spoiler review. We also do have we did recently.
Oh no, I also have a review for the Banshees of Inisherin. You guys should absolutely see that movie. That is going to, as you get closer to award season, you're going to hear about it, because Colin Farrell and Brendan Gleeson are phenomenal.
And if you didn't catch our live stream with Previewed, where we played some Super Mario, Super Mario All-Star, or is it All-Star Super Mario?
Mario Party Superstar.
Mario Party that one. If you can actually go catch it on Jay's Twitch stream. You can catch the VOD over there at King Bunny. That King Bunny. I was always like, what is the first word? I know it's King Bunny something. But yeah, you can go check it out on his Twitch channel and see us just be goofy and funny on his live stream on Twitch.
Yeah, you can check out all the glory that is the Queen of Spache. If there's any peaches in the chat, you guys will know what that means. All right, so what else? And of course, if this is your first time joining us on this chaotic live stream, it's always like this. No matter how well organized we may think we may have it, and then
doesn't matter how much preparation, there's always chaos.
Usually. So, but if you enjoy a little chaotic live stream, add that to your Saturdays. Feel free to subscribe. And if you're already here, you're watching, you enjoy our chaos. Hit that thumbs up button, really helps us out, get more visibility on YouTube. Okay, we're gonna go ahead and get started with some news first. And this isn't really news. I think we're still kind of doing. Oh, you know what? Before we do that, I think we should take care of a couple of super chats.
Oh yeah, super chats.
Super chats. Thank you guys so much, by the way. The first one comes from Marvin Martin. Marvin writes, minus Gray Ghost. If you could claim any dragon, which dragon would it be? I'm going to say this is not specific to HotD because we're, again, not caught up. So we haven't learned all the names of the dragons. Also haven't read all the books. So there's that. Whale.
I would always go for Falcor. Falcor the Luck Dragon. I grew up on Neverending Story. So that's always one of my favorite dragons.
Yeah.
I loved Falcor. And that's why we had a dog named Falcor.
We had a dog named Falcor. Falcor the Mighty Luck Dog. I think if Dustin's going to claim Falcor, then I will claim Toothless.
Oh.
100%. Night Fury.
Night Fury. There's actually a lot of famous dragons out there.
There are. Pete's Dragon.
Mm-hmm.
All the dragons from HotD, of which I can't name.
And Game of Thrones.
And
you have
Game of Thrones.
A lot of dragons in there. And that is one thing that I do have to admit that I like that I've seen about HotD so far is the fact that we didn't have to wait 3-4 seasons to get our dragons. We got our dragons in the first episode, baby. And it was awesome. And you're like, yeah, dragons. Yeah. And we got to get caught up on that because things are going to get spoiled. Yes. I've already had some like flashes of images. I'm like, no, I didn't see that. Erase it from my memory.
Jumping around our topics so much.
And I don't want it's normal here.
That's true. That's true. Just my Virgo personality is like,
sorry,
stay in the lines. Okay, so I think Debbie also said Figment. I didn't realize.
Oh yeah, Figment is a dragon. Oh, that's right. A good one. Good
call, Debbie.
Good call. I like that one.
Ooh, Belay GTR says if I could claim any dragon, it would probably be Bahamut.
Oh, going for a little
that's deep cut. It's deep cut. Yeah, Stardew says Sean Connery has the last dragon heart.
I am the last one.
Anthony Salas says Blue Eyes, White Dragon. Yeah, lots of great choices, lots of dragons out there for everybody. Thank you so much, Marvin, for your super chat. I'm guessing Marvin would claim Gray Ghost because he said minus Gray Ghost.
You can't choose my dragon. That's my dragon. I'm sure. I call dibs.
Mine.
I call dibs.
Yes. We have another super chat from Chris Mendez. Hey,
Chris, how's it going?
Chris writes, are you going to get any more magic bands? And if so, what kind? There's a Hades and a Haunted Mansion one that I might do. So that is coming up to the topics in just a second, but we will show off ahead of the topic what they look like. And then we'll dive in a little bit more into what Magic Band pluses are, unless you're a avid park goer, specifically to the Orlando theme parks, because these have existed there for a little bit longer, much longer than Disneyland. But these are ours.
Dun, dun, dun.
Got the lilac. And
wait, I gotta get over that way.
Focus.
Focus.
Hold on.
And let me see if I can actually push the button while my head's off to the side. There we go. And they light up like that. Just hit it a little bit. Keep hitting it. It'll work. Or you can just push the button in the back.
No, but I wanted to go purple.
Oh.
It worked It worked yesterday during road
It also worked today where you just tapped it.
There.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think that's just also just showing, for me, when you push the back, it shows the level of the battery. So when it's fully green like that, it does show that I have a full battery. So I can't wait to take it back to Disneyland.
Oh. All right. So these are our magic bands. We just got the basic design. No extra fancy stuff on it because this would go with whatever outfits we wear.
Yeah.
That's what we went with for the first magic band. TBD on if we're gonna get more because these aren't cheap. They're at the lowest price, $34.99 without any discounts, and then it goes up like a $10 increment for whichever design you decide to pick up. So
yeah,
we will talk about that a little bit later. Chris, let us know which one you got because I think you said it in maybe a text message to us or a DM to us, but I can't remember. So feel free to drop that in the chat and let us know what you got because I honestly cannot remember. Oh wait, I think Chris said he got the Star Wars one.
Oh, there were a couple Star Wars
one. I think he got the Vader one,
which looked like that. That was the one that was the one that was tempting me. But a part of me was also like, I want to be able to have something that, goes with everything that I wear, and also be able to. I think I'm going to go on Etsy and give it some time, and I think they'll start having to where you can just buy the band instead of actually having to buy the entire thing for like $45. Or they have the little puck
holders too.
Yeah,
because these little middle parts, the square part, comes out. So we might do that because I don't super love wearing it on my wrist.
Yeah, I always kind of have like a side bag that I wear to Disneyland, and I want to get like a puck holder and one of those janitor key holders, and just so I can go beep, just go beep.
The retractable things.
Yeah, and goes right back to where I want it.
So we will definitely talk about that a little bit later on in the show. But first and foremost, we got to talk about one of the things that Dustin got to do. I think it was like a few weekends ago.
It was just last weekend, wasn't it?
It was just last weekend. But Dustin went to his very first K-pop concert / K-pop festival.
Experience.
Granted, it is not the most high quality.
Which is good.
Your expectations were low.
Yeah, my expectations.
Bar set real low.
The bar is set real low. So now when I go to when we go to Blackpink in November, I will be like, okay, cool. So and then Blackpink will just blow me away, and I'll be like, oh my god, this is so cool.
I mean, we have GA, so it's still going to be in a way a shit show. But Dustin's very tall, so he'll be able to see over everybody.
Do you want me to describe it to you, or do you want me to get
this is why Warren paid the extra money to get us up priority. Wendy and Warren gets priority entry, and we're gonna run for that barricade because otherwise I can't see. Otherwise, I'm not gonna be able to see. So, I mean, I'll be able to see. But...
And I have to admit, even though this was actually a good experience to have, because one, it wasn't that crowded. There were very few people there. I'd have to say they probably had to refund or give away half of their tickets.
Yeah, so let's give a little history. The festival we went to was held at the Rose Bowl in Pasadena, California, and it is called Camp, K-A-M-P. I till this day have no idea what K-A-M-P stood for. Korean.
Did it actually stand for something? Was it actually an acronym?
I couldn't find it anywhere.
Oh, so I just thought it was camp, and since it was K-pop, they put the K in there.
But I think that's literally like that's as far as like how they also called it the Wanted Tour, and I was like, what does that mean? Like
wanted,
like
they're wanted all over the world.
I guess so. So the tickets initially for a 2-day pass. These are multiple artists like Bam Bam, Kai from EXO, Super Junior, Icon from YG, Momoland, aespa, Chungha, Epic High. Who else am I missing? I said Super Junior already. Monsta X was supposed to be there. And initially they were doing a 2-day pass for $200. If you think about how much K-pop concerts are, like I paid a little over $200 for me and Warren straight tickets each. So, and that's 1 day, one concert, one group of artists. And this one, you got multiple artists. And I was like, okay, that's actually kind of decent. So I almost pulled the trigger on it, but I knew that we were traveling to Atlanta for Blackpink, and Stray Kids cost a lot of money, and I was like, you know what, I'm just not gonna do it. So I didn't, and it was literally 2 days before the concert, and friend of the show, fellow movie bunch, Zach Mendoza, messaged me and was like, hey, they're giving away free tickets. I'm like, what? They are? And he's like, yeah. I wasn't able to claim one because they were already all claimed, but he was able to claim a few extra, so I was able to get a few from him, and I was like, Dustin, do you want to come with? This will be your first K-pop experience. He wasn't working. It was like, great. So the
reason why I wasn't working was because the place that I work at was closed because of the concert.
How ironic. So basically, the reason they gave free tickets, and they gave a lot of free tickets despite selling them at $200 per for the 2 days, was because they weren't selling enough. And the bleachers and the seats weren't being filled up, so they decided to give it away. Yeah,
of the Rose Bowl. It wasn't even the fact that there was no one there. They had the seats covered, which means they knew no one was going to be there. So, yeah, it was a little bit of a cluster.
Yes.
But the thing is, though, it was cool because it wasn't that crowded. They had a few vendors there that were giving away free samples.
Yes.
And they had so much free samples that they were like, here, take. And they handed you a box of just free samples. Not that, I mean.
You could take up to like 7 samples because our friends did. And I was like, because we just took 2 each. And I saw, and I was like, how did you get so many? She was like, Wendy, I just
poured them.
So in any case, basically the artists are all good, and this is to no fault of any of the artists. It was really more for the organizer of this event. It was so poorly organized. So they were charging people this $200. People weren't buying it because these aren't like, it's, you know, a lot of these are, again, these artists are great, but they weren't enough to fill up the arena. So what the organizers did is they moved the stage closer to the seats, so it made that half of the stadium look even smaller so it can fill up more, right? And they gave away the free tickets to fill up the seats, and hopefully people were enticed enough to be like, well, you don't have to pay anything to come, we can fill up the seats. Still, people weren't like taking the bait, because a day before the concerts, rumors started flying with no official statement from the organizers at all that a lot of artists aren't coming due to visa issues. So it's like they basically chopped that artist list in half. Somi was not able to come due to visa issues. Bam Bam, Kai from EXO, Monster X, who I really wanted to see, were not able to show up, and I think like I'm missing one more person. So it was terrible. It was terrible. So we knew this going into it. So we kind of had a good time because, one, we didn't really pay for the tickets. Two, we carpooled with a bunch of people, so parking was only like $10 each a person. We had food prior, so we didn't need to eat. Don't say that. Don't say that. We didn't have to eat in the venue, which is like, we were seeing like they were selling boba for like $10. I was like, whoa, I usually pay like $3.50, $4 for a boba. I don't know, for I'm not paying double the price. So what did you think of your first K-pop experience?
It was fun. The best part, though, was to hear the artists kind of throw shade every now and again, because that was so much fun. The fact that it was still a pretty big concert, even though there weren't that many people there. It was good music, if I didn't know about all of the drama, I would have been like, oh, okay, so they just didn't sell that many tickets.
Yeah.
So, but it was fun. I enjoyed it. I have really now liked a couple new bands. I really liked Epic High. I was like, this is a fun band to watch.
Yes.
So I'm excited now to go on and see our next big concert, which is Blackpink in Georgia.
That's going to be a whole different thing. Get ready just for girls and boys screaming. You heard some people scream.
Oh yeah, there was a lot of people screaming in the concert. But I have to admit, it seems like this is happening. Things like this are happening a lot.
Yes, let's talk about the next thing.
Because a couple of you have mentioned it in the chat, but just today, there's a concert going on in Vegas, or was supposed to go on in Vegas. And that is the When We Were Young tour.
Yes. Do you know some of the artists that are there?
Yeah. Off the top of my head, I know My Chemical Romance was supposed to be there.
Paramore.
Paramore was supposed to be there. And I'm just like, one thing that made me kind of, what is that called? Grumpily chuckle was the fact that the statement that they put out, the fact that they canceled it an hour before they were supposed to open the gates. And they're like, oh, our top priority is always the safety of our fans, our staff, and our performers. And I'm like, if that was your number one priority, you wouldn't have canceled 1 hour before the
42 minutes, according to somebody who was actually in Vegas, like booked an Airbnb, had tickets for today's show, and got the notification 42 minutes before she was going to the concert that it's been completely canceled.
And the fact that they didn't cancel until they were forced to cancel by the Metropolitan Police Department in Las Vegas.
Yeah.
I'm like, no, you wanted to hold out for as long as you could until you were forced to close.
Yes.
And I just see things like this happen so much with concerts and venues, because they have no competition. When it comes like to Ticketmaster, you have to buy all of your tickets through there.
Yeah.
So, and there's really no repercussions for them not canceling it, because I'm like,
they just waited until they were told. Somebody came and was like, hello, you can't do this
concert today. And I'm just like, I feel so bad for people who bought Airbnbs, people
my
who
God, look at
paid
this
air
lineup.
travel, people who have spent so much money because they can't recoup any of that.
Nope.
You know, you get your tickets refunded, but you still spent probably $1,000 on air travel, on hotel accommodations, and you were just out of that money.
Honestly, if I saw this, I did see this lineup, and I was very excited. And like, had we not been going to Blackpink and have like, you know, spent our finances elsewhere, like I would have considered it.
Yeah, Green Day,
Blink 182, Good Charlotte, 5 Seconds of Summer, Rise Against, Yellow Card, The Offspring, Thrice, Gym Class Heroes. Oh my gosh, Michelle Branch, Less Than Jake, Bowling for Soup. Who else did I listen to back in the days?
When we were young.
When we were young. Newfound Glory, Simple Plan, Sum 41. I didn't really listen to Sum 41, but I knew of them. Obviously, Paramore, and is this the right lineup? Where is Paramore and MCR on this? Anyways.
But honestly,
here's the other one.
Oh,
okay.
and that's wow.
This is the one. This is the one. Sorry, I read the wrong one. Jimmy Eats World, Bright Eyes. Avril Lavigne. Wow, Avril Lavigne. All American Rejects?
Yeah, there was a pretty stacked lineup. So, and I can see why there were so many people. And I'm pretty sure they were just sold out and packed. So it's sad to see these kind of things happen. And you hear about these stories over and over and over again to where, you know, there's some kind of big event like Fire Festival, which was kind of a con to begin with, I think. I don't think that got out of hand.
Scam.
That was a scam to begin with.
I mean, the FIFA tent and the cheese sandwiches are just atrocious. Seeing them on, like, imagine you paid the money and you show up, you're like, what is that? You know, if anybody bought tickets, like, we're so sorry. Like that fully sucks. There's nothing worse than spend your hard-earned money and take the time out of your, like, change your schedule, get days off work.
That's the big thing. Getting days off of work and spending all that money. I mean, that's just like a big 1-2 punch for some people. They will save up for these big concerts, and that's like the only big concert of the year.
Yes.
And then they're just SOL.
Yeah, it sucks. So I don't know what you do. You just angrily listen to the music or don't listen to them. I don't know. I don't know what I would do. Pout.
Well, because you don't want to take it out on the artists, because it's never the artist's fault.
It's not their fault. It's like camp. It wasn't their fault. God, camp was such a mess. Anyways, okay. Let's talk about the next topic. And Chris mentioned this earlier. Let's talk a little bit about MagicBand, and then we'll get into the industry and entertainment news of it all. So for theme park news, MagicBand Plus has arrived at Disneyland. Now, these guys have already been in use at Walt Disney World for a really long time. In fact, they were the ones that started it first. They started with the MagicBand, and then they had the MagicBand 2, and now they have the MagicBand Plus. So the good news is that if you're a traveler and you hop between if you hop between the West Coast Park and the East Coast Park, and you happen to have a MagicBand Plus, that is great news for you, because you do not need to purchase a new one, unless you want to get a different design that is specific to Disneyland. I can see people wanting to do that if they're like collector and they're, into stuff like that.
Because there are a lot of people who buy everything Disney.
Yes, a lot of people, that's what they want to do with their money. And I say it's your money. You do what you want with it. Yeah, it's
whatever brings you joy.
Products isn't hurting anybody. So Disneyland has been working in the parks for a long time to try to get ready for this to implement. So far, Disneyland has only used the Disneyland app to put your pass on there to link up your pass or day ticket. If you purchase Genie Plus, you use the app, mobile order, and all of that. So the MagicBand is supposed to help expedite some of the time, as in once you link it up to your personal account, ticket or Magic Key Holder account, instead of pulling the app and your pass up on your phone, which can take a long time because of the app takes longer to load because everybody around you is trying to do the same thing. You can just go in and go boop, and you are in. We tried it and it worked and it was great. So it'll save you a little bit of time. If you have Genie Plus, you still have to book that on your phone, but once you get to the line, you can just tap in instead of, again, bringing it up on your phone and wait for it and all of that stuff. What it can't do is you can't pay with it. And that's something that I wish they could implement, because I feel like Florida, you can.
And I think they're going to. I think right now, fingers crossed, I do believe, I mean, because that is something that these are designed for. This is the purpose of these things, to make it easier for you to give Disney their money, to where all you have to do is like, oh, I want this churro, tap. Oh, I want to get this merchandise.
You spend
tap.
so much more money because you're not taking out the wallet. You're not thinking about it. It's like when at Carnival, cruise lines, it's called the sign and sale.
Yeah. And
then
all you have to do is just sign. They take and they just take it out. And a lot of times, what is it? They'll do that with your the room key, to where all you have to do is tap, because then you're not thinking about it. But I have to admit, it does make it a lot easier. It makes it a lot more fun too. And they're going to probably be rolling more and more out. Like, for example, I cannot wait until they bring out more games.
Yes.
Might be problematic.
This comment. Imagine the kids, Mom, I want
beep,
this.
Beep, 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 beep.
It's like, this is, if you're a parent, don't click like the click
Amazon
to pay,
button.
whatever. Yeah, don't do that, because they will be like, I want to order everything. No, don't do that.
Well, I think also you could, right now you can't, but it would make sense that you can go to the app, put a credit card on there, and say, okay, this MagicBand is able to have access to the credit cards. So, and there's slowly but surely, I'm sure it's going to roll out. I feel like when we got it on the very first day,
yes,
it just happened to be that we could go down on this day, which is worked out perfectly for us.
Yeah.
I feel like it felt very much like a soft open. It felt like, hey, let's give it to, we're going to make it available for our pass holders. They can be able to use the beginning products that are accessible with the MagicBand, and get to play the very first games of the Bounty Hunter, the Bounty Hunter Guild in, what is it called? Actually,
the Bounty Hunters of Batuu.
Bounty Hunters of Batuu.
Or the Bounties of Batuu, maybe. Bounty or Bounty Hunter, and then the word Batuu is in there as well. So yeah, this is that game is currently specific to MagicBand users only. And again, real quick, guys, this is optional. This is something to supplement. This is not a requirement. Not having this doesn't mean you're going to have a worse experience at Disneyland. Your experience will be all the same. Just want to put that out there. Yeah, you do not need to purchase this. And for pricing points, these ones that we got, the ones with no design, just color on it, essentially you kind of like the basic, more clean, sleek design with just the classic Mickey silhouette, is $34.99 plus tax. And then it goes up in increments of 10. So then the next tier is $44.99, and that's like most of the designs.
Yeah.
Anything that is $44.99, and then they have like the limited release ones. So the Wakanda Forever one, which looks pretty sick, the Coco one, which looks pretty awesome. Those are $54.99. If you're a Magic key holder, you get your discount, whatever it may be, 10%, 15%, 20% on your purchase. And then they have a special Magic key design exclusively to anybody who is a Magic key holder. You can buy those, and normally those are $44.99, but they lowered it to $34.99. I don't know for how long, for the time being, I guess. And that's the special pricing right now. And another thing to note is, if you already have a MagicBand Plus, you can start using it at the park. For anybody who doesn't have one, and apparently they're sold out on shopdisney.com already.
Oh, wow.
If you weren't able to get your hands on one, and you're not a Magic key holder, a Disney Vacation Club holder, or a cast member, you unfortunately cannot purchase them yet. The early access is only for those specific groups, but then it goes wide in like 4 days. So you can go into the park and you can purchase them to your heart's content. Let's talk about linking up.
This is actually something that I did want to bring up, and it does have to do with linking up. But Blade GTR has, if you can link your account to that device, that could be very dangerous. Imagine if someone stole your device. Now, that is true,
crazy.
But I also think that there's a Bluetooth range on this. So if someone did steal it, it won't be able to connect to your phone unless you're within whatever the Bluetooth range is. I think it's like 30 feet. So someone would have to steal it and then stay within a certain radius of you for it to work. Now, I might be incorrect on that, but that's what I personally think when it comes to the Bluetooth device. because we even had some problems linking it up to our phones. Wendy had a much easier time of it than I did.
Gotta love that iOS.
Because it seems like these were really designed for two phones. The Samsung and especially the iPhone, because I think it was super easy for you.
It was so easy. It's just like out of the box, it worked right away. Like I linked up, no. They had to download the update, like the firmware, and that took a little long. But that was because everybody around us is on their phone using something, so there's like that bandwidth. But it downloaded. Dustin and the other people, for example, Fresh Baked on YouTube, who is a Disney vlogger, he has him and his family members who were trying to link it all have Samsung phones, and for some reason they were running into issues, which I find crazy because I love my iPhone. I love Apple products. It's really all I have. But I will also be the first to say Samsung phones to me are superior. There's way more features. There's way more things you can do. Their technology is better. The cameras are better.
You can't link.
But for some reason, I don't know what it is. So that was interesting. In a way, I'm kind of glad that we have two different types of phones, so we can kind of compare and contrast.
Like, so I was able to get it to work, and it connected. However, I wasn't able to access some of the features on my phone, like changing the color of the light, of being able to find out exactly how much battery I have, of being able to, there was one more thing that I wasn't able to connect to that made it a little bit less optimal experience. But I still was able to do the bounties. I was still able to use it for my my passes.
Yes.
So, you know, I think it's a fun little thing to have, especially if you go to Disney a lot, or if you're doing a really big vacation to Disneyland.
Yes, and that's why it worked so well for Florida, because it is capable of unlocking your room door. It pays for your stuff, your tickets linked to it. Like I think when you buy, isn't it when you buy tickets, it links up with it?
Yep.
Like and don't they give it to you? Like you can pick.
You could have it to be part of your vacation package.
Maybe it's at a discounted price or something like that. That's kind of cool, honestly. But the good thing is for you and I, when we go and do our Florida vacation, which will happen soon, we don't have to buy any extra. Yeah, I really want to go. So yeah, the Bounty Hunter game is a lot of fun. It's in Batu. There is a bounty board. And you will see it. It's across the street from the marketplace, from where they sell the Ronto roasters. And there's a bounty board, and you tap your MagicBand to this little like thingy, and then it gives you your bounty, and it could be anything from like a Jawa to something like that's pretty huge. And
yeah, the biggest one I think is like 10,000 credits, but most of them are around like
10,000 credits.
There was one that was a 10,000 credit for. And you can, what is that called? What am I thinking? But it ranges from like, say, I think the smallest one that I had was 300 and something credits to the biggest one, which was like 900 credits are the most common.
Yes. And there's no limit on how many times you can do it. You can do it until you are tired of it, or if your MagicBand runs out of battery. And basically what you do is you let the MagicBand tell you where to go. So it's kind of like hot or cold. It'll turn green if you're heading in the right direction, or it'll turn red if you're heading in the wrong direction. It'll start buzzing very loudly, like vibrating very, very loudly, and be like, hey, you're going the wrong way. And once you are there, you can use your app, the Play Disney app, to scan the door that you're in front of, and it'll kind of like do a thermal scan, and then you'll find the target. And once you've found the bounty, you can go back to the bounty board and you collect the credit. And it's kind of interactive. There's a door and the little slit comes open, and it's like
pretty cool.
And he kind of makes fun of you. He's like, well, that was easy for your first one. Get a second one, and then we can talk about letting you in the guild. And then you get like an achievement or something once you're, but you have to do
achievement
20, right?
I think you need to do 20 in order to become a part of the Bounty Hunters Guild.
Yes.
We did 5.
We did 5.
So yeah, we still have 15 more to go.
And yeah, we'll just go back throughout. Like some people they got there at rope drop and they got to the 20, and I was like, I'm not that invested.
And I can see it being fun. And also it also has revitalized my interest in the Disney Play app as well, because now they have upgraded a lot of things in the Disney Play app. There's a lot more activities to do. And now I'm kind of like, oh, I'm kind of curious on some of these.
You can get a free fortune from Esmeralda.
You
don't have to pay 25 cents for it.
Nope. The what is it called? It's in the Penny Arcade.
Yes.
It's the fortune teller right as you walk in. If you have the Play Disney app,
This one is
you can
mine.
actually get a free fortune once every visit. So I'm
Mhm.
like, that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
And you can also do the same thing for the pirate as you exit Pirates of the Caribbean. There's a store there that also has like a pirate version of Esmeralda. So
Yeah.
next time we go, we're going to be getting a
Yeah, I
pirate
think we're
fortune.
gonna be playing around with that. So that is sort of the news on MagicBand Plus. Again, these are optional. If you have the money and you want to spend it on a MagicBand, fantastic. If you say, I don't like wearable tech, or it's unnecessary for me, don't get it. It's not going to make Disneyland a less of a good experience for you. It's the same.
Yeah.
I promise you. As of right now, it is the same. So
A part of me would almost say if you're only going there for like a day trip and your family doesn't go that often, I would say, you don't really have to have one of
Agreed.
these, because you can still, as of right now, still do everything on your phone. You could still, even when they have it to where you can pay with your MagicBand Plus, you can still just whip out your credit card. I would say if you are a Magic key holder or someone who goes to Florida and like back and forth from Florida to Disneyland a lot, then I would say yes, this is so far is a fun thing to have.
Yes, absolutely. Cyber Goblin says, is the pirate version name Esmeralda? Arr.
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 Everyone thinks a pirate's favorite letter is R.
Yes.
But his first love is always the C.
Yes. Oh my gosh. Dad jokes.
Sorry.
Hey, before we get into our next news topic, let's talk about this super chat from Jay Master. Thank you, Jay. Jay writes, something very interesting I noticed on the calendar. Andor season 1 finale ends on November 23rd, but 6 days later, on the night of November 29th, Willow premieres on Disney Plus with 2 episodes. Are you so excited?
A part of me, we've been so focused on like what's going on right now that I forgot that Willow is coming out. And I've got to tell you, Willow is one of the shows that I have just been nerding out over. I am so excited to see this show. I am so excited to see the original cast come back. I was a little disappointed that at D23 they did flat out say Mad Mardigan is not in this. Val Kilmer is not going to be a part of it. And I'm like, no, I wanted to, because, even if it was just a small little scene that he was in, kind of like in Top Gun Maverick, I thought that would have been wonderful. I am dying to see this show. I want to explore this world more, and I want to know more about what's going on with, the prophesied child of Elora Danan. And I am just so excited.
It's really interesting that things that we enjoyed so much as kids is like all the nostalgia stuff.
Yes.
It's, what it could be is kids like us grew up, went into that field, producing, directing, filmmaking, whatever it is, and they're like, we want to do this because we loved it and it had an impact on our childhood. I want to see it again. And I think it's kind of cool because it'll, hopefully introduce new audiences to Willow as well. So we're looking forward to that. Thank you for the reminder, Jay, because I think, like you said, we were so focused on what we normally react to, which is mostly Star Wars and Marvel shows on Disney Plus that like I straight up forgot about. Willow was coming out so soon.
And Black Banolala, I'm right there with you. I think I'm going to have to watch the original movie Willow again before the movie starts, before the series starts, just because I want to watch it again. It's been a while since I've seen it, so I want to go back and watch it again.
When did Willow come out?
Willow came out
late
old. 80s.
We were babies.
Oh yeah, I was little when it came out, and I just loved it.
We saw it probably years later because we were probably way too young to watch something like Willow.
Oh, my parents took me to go see RoboCop 2 and Total Recall when I was a kid. So
I mean, my mom showed me it, so I guess we're the same category.
But honestly, there's still things that I quote from that movie, oh, so which way you were going? That way! The little brownies. We go that way to the river.
Yeah, maybe one day we'll do just like we can find time in our schedule. Do a fun rewatch. Wait, do you have it?
I think we can watch it on Disney Plus.
Oh, that's true.
It would make sense that they have it available on Disney Plus.
I would hope so. All right, you guys, let's go ahead and dive into this next topic, and that is a show that is coming soon to Disney Plus. We're not going to give you guys spoilers because we know it's not out yet, but we just want to give you our quick initial thoughts, and that is Star Wars Tales of the Jedi. This is 6 short, like animated shorts, I guess, episodes. Like in Star Wars,
I think like 10 to 17 minutes around there.
Around there. That's kind of like the span. That's including credits. But I will say we watched all of it last night because you can binge it all, and we actually suggest that you do.
Yes.
Once it comes out, just
binge all 6 of them.
Yeah, just binge all 6, and it gives you 2 different story arcs. One of everybody's favorite Padawan. Well, she's not a Padawan anymore, but Ahsoka Tano and a young Count Dooku. And both, without giving anything away at all, both story arcs are super interesting. The animation, as we saw in the latest season of Clone Wars, that was season 7 that was released during the pandemic, right? It was whatever it was, season 7. The animation was so much more advanced than what we got during Clone Wars because technology and time have advanced since then. This one is even better. Like there was a shot of like a close up of Ahsoka, and you could see like the details on her.
Like we were actually able to see like the pores in her skin, the texture.
It is amazing. Good.
The storytelling is phenomenal, and I love how they're able to tell so much in such a short amount of time. Mm-hmm. So when it comes out, we do highly recommend it. We will have our reactions.
We'll try to get them out as quickly as possible.
We can record them beforehand, but we can't edit them until the actual until the series actually releases.
Yeah, so it'll come out sometime after.
Yeah.
The Tales of the Jedi. Which, by the way, you guys should watch those shows on your own first without us anyways, because it's not like we pull up the full show. Because that's not something that we can do. So nor would we want to. So make sure you enjoy those on your own first on Disney Plus, and then you can check out our reaction, and then we can talk spoilers once it's out, which is like next weekend.
Mm-hmm.
So that'll be a fun episode.
So we got 2 more topics to get to. Actually, no, 3 more topics to get to before we actually dive into
Andor.
Spoiler talk for Andor.
Yes.
Episode 7. So let's dive on let's talk a little bit about what's going on in the DC films universe, because ever since that HBO and Discovery merger, things have been shaking up a lot at Disney.
Yes,
I'm not Disney. At Warner Brothers DC HBO Discovery.
Yes. So the president of DC Films, Walter Hamada, is departing. He is stepping down and away from the company, the studio, which I guess at this point, it's not completely surprising, because once he found out about the Batgirl news, which he didn't find out beforehand, like a president probably should have, he found out when I think it hit social media. Is when he imagine you're the president of DC Films, and that's when you find out. So he was already, upset and unhappy with it, and he was already there were talks of him wanting to leave then. And now it looks like he's been there 15 years. He has now exited Warner Brothers Discovery, and he's left the company.
Yeah, and it seems like there's just going to be a lot of these big shifts and movements that are happening at DC.
Yes.
I mean, at Warner Brothers. And it makes sense that they're kind of doing these big, since they've just had a big merger, there's going to be some massive chaos at DC.
Yeah, but this is usually the president is aware of things like that. So that's
from what we read in the article, it really did seem like they are not doing this by the proper steps that you should do, the courtesy steps that you should get in order to be like, hey, this is what's happening, that we're going to keep you up to date. It's just, oh, by the way, we just sent out a tweet saying that this is happening. Oh, by the way. And you're like, are you kidding me? I mean, you don't show the proper respect to the person that you say is in charge.
Right.
It's just, there's just something going on. I have no idea what's going on there. I don't know how they're just planning to mix these things up. So And it's very frustrating because I want DC to do well. I
Yes.
want to see these properties come out and just knock it out of the park so we could have, just this massive amount of DC property. I love comic books. Whatever kind of comic books you can bring to the big screen, the little screen, the medium screen, I am happy to give you my money
Yes.
and watch it.
And we know that Zaslav have said that he's been looking for someone like a Kevin Feige to kind of oversee the DC stuff. And he also said that there's a 10-year plan for DC. Not sure how that's going to pan out yet, but we'll see about that. You got to give it some time, I suppose. But I was shocked when I first heard that he didn't know. He basically found out about Batgirl when the industry found out about Batgirl, the cancellation. And that sucks. They were eyeing Dan Lin as someone to kind of oversee this, but that doesn't seem like it's going to happen. And also said that Walter Hamada was he was ready to go, and his office had been slowly packed up. He hadn't been a part of any creative meetings. The man was done. So he was actually, according to IGN, he was notified of the Batgirl cancellation at a Black Adam test screening. Terrible. That's not water cooler conversation. That is you let the president know.
Yeah. You don't just drop it on him. Oh, hey, we just happened to be here for the Black Adam, test screening. Oh, by the way, we're canceling Batgirl.
Yeah.
Wait, what?
Yeah. I see some of you guys saying in the chat that maybe Kevin will sign him. I don't know. I'm not sure. I feel like Marvel over there, I'm not saying it's out of possibility. Maybe there is room for conversation.
Yeah.
But I also feel like Marvel, they're so far ahead in their planning that they have things already set in place. And if you enter another person right now, it might cause too much of a shakeup.
Yeah,
maybe?
I think Marvel has their team, they have their plan, they have their playlist, they know where they're going, what they're doing, who they need. Mm-hmm. And just because maybe an incredible talent happens to be available, like Hamada, that doesn't mean they're going to be let's change everything so we can get them on the team.
Right.
I mean, don't get me wrong.
It'd be a long conversation.
It would, yeah. I think it's going to take a while. If it does happen, I think it's going to take a little bit longer.
Yes.
But it is something that, could happen.
Absolutely. We have a super chat from Jay Master. Jay, thank you so much,
Jay.
Jay writes something John Campea pointed out on his show, that he wouldn't be surprised if Kevin Feige hires Walter Hamada by February or before as one of his trusted producers at Marvel. Interesting.
Well,
I mean, we don't really know what kind of friendship or relationship Kevin Feige and Walter Hamada may have.
Yeah, true.
You know what I'm saying? We don't know that. So like I said, there is definitely room for conversation. I think Kevin is very much in the know, and he knows what he wants. So maybe that could be a gain for Marvel.
Yeah. Well, and also here's another thing. We know that Marvel is bringing out all of these different ideas. I mean, not just the movies, not just the TV shows, but they're also bringing out all of these new specials. Like we had Werewolf by Night. We have the Guardians of the Galaxy holiday special coming out.
Yes.
We have a rumor that we're going to talk about later that they're going to give Silver Surfer the same kind of special feature treatment. So we don't know what else is in the pipeline. If Marvel is planning more of these kind of things, hiring someone who has experience in this kind of a thing, like Walter Hamada, would be a good idea. And be like, okay, we're having this new section. This is what we want you to be in charge of, is streamlining this. I'm going to take care of all this other stuff. This is your designation. I think that could probably work out. But once again, that's all way in the future, I think. And I think that those are plans that we are just hypothesizing about, that we don't even know are existing. It's just us fans going,
we're not in the room when it happens. Yeah. Anthony, thank you so much for stopping by. We hope you have a great day at work. Thanks for stopping in. All right. Should we go ahead and move on to our next topic?
Yeah. So
a lot of people, hold on, sorry. There's a lot of give and takes about Walter possibly being a part of Marvel. Freddie says, with people like Walter saying no to what fans want, then the people ranked above him saying yes, it tells me he's standing in the way of progress. Oh yeah, Blade says it's almost as bad as G4 employees learning about the studio closing via a news article. Did you hear about that? People found out via Twitter.
Yep.
Imagine you find out that you don't have a job anymore because Twitter's talking. It's trending.
He's like, yeah, Twitter told me I'm fired.
Terrible.
And I don't even work for Twitter.
Terrible.
So I mean, and that's the thing. You know, you hear things about big corporations and big companies going like, oh, by the way, don't come into work tomorrow because you're fired, or you get an email saying that you're fired, or it's like,
as you probably saw on Twitter, like that's how people
And you know, it's usually not from the person who's supposed to fire you. It's like from one of their underlings.
Yeah, and it depends if people are like, you have to be on the, unless you're a salary person, you have to be like on the clock when you're being fired. You have to. So I think, well, at least in California, that's a law. I don't know if that's the same in other states, but yeah. Debbie says this: no way. The Marvel producers' inner circle have been together for years.
That's also something that I think too, is the fact that they have their clique, they have their group, they have their people, they have their family that they trust. And why bring in someone from an outside company that's going to throw off the balance?
Correct.
But someone, I think Jay just gave us another super chat.
Okay, want me to go to it? So I was going to read this first.
Because, go ahead and read that one and then we can go.
Okay, Mergeranta writes, imagine a meeting with Kevin and Walter. The first hour they talk about all the things Kevin would have done differently at DC.
That would be funny.
I mean, if they got a good friendship, I can see the conversation going that way. Okay.
Yeah.
Go
but
ahead.
This is actually a good point. Could you guys see Disney hire Walter Hamada as the president of Lucasfilms once Kathleen Kennedy's contract expires at the end of 2023, if they decide to move from her? I don't think they're going to move away from Kathleen Kennedy.
I don't think he'd be president.
But I could see them hiring Walter as, like, say, someone to help out with a certain department, maybe to be the president of this department. Well, you'll still have, I don't think they're going to get, even though Kathleen Kennedy's contract ends in 2023, I don't think she's leaving. She is just way too connected to Lucasfilms, to Disney, to everything that is happening.
Here's what I've always and I know there's a lot of fans who are unhappy with her decisions and they blame her for XYZ. However, every time I've read about her in an interview where her name comes up in a conversation via like Jon Favreau or Dave Filoni, they talk about not her being president of like Lucasfilm, but her as a producer. And she's been in the game for a long time as a producer, and she is like super producer. Because what do you do as a producer? You problem solve. If there's a problem that's going to stop the production, it's going to cost production money, she is there to fix it. And she is apparently excellent at that, because somebody, who was it that said something like that at D23? Was it about the Indiana Jones thing, or was it about, I feel like it was Favreau who said it.
Favreau? It
was either Favreau or Filoni. It was one of those two.
Oh, yeah, true.
It was one, because she always brings them on stage, and the three of them are always like standing and talking together. And one of them was complimenting her on her like problem solving skills as a producer. So that's not something like I think people remember often, that she started off as producer. I think she still is technically a like executive producer. Yeah. So I know some fans are like not on team Kathleen Kennedy, but I just don't know if they're gonna get rid of her. Yeah,
or if she even wants to move on. Because that's the one thing. If she wants to renew, I'm pretty sure they're going to renew. And also, here's another thing. With Walter's track record, would we actually want him in that position?
Well, he's responsible for what? Peacemaker
was really good.
Joker, I think.
Mm-hmm. He does have some good successes under his belt. But I mean, everyone, no matter what franchise you have, is looking to follow the Marvel template. Now, true, you could tweak it a little bit for your own personal franchise, but everyone wants to be able to have a whole bunch of successful movies, a whole bunch of successful TV shows, and a whole bunch of successful special presentations. They want the Marvel track record. So I think bringing on someone like Walter from a franchise that tried really hard to achieve that but wasn't able to may not also be the best decision. I might be completely wrong in that, but I feel like they could. Marvel, Lucasfilms has so many other options available to them.
Yeah. Or they may not shift whatever is already in place for their team.
Yeah.
They're comfortable in that. And again, they're super far ahead. So, yeah.
And speaking some of those options, we did mention earlier, one rumor that we are hearing is that there's going to be a special presentation that features the Silver Surfer.
Mm-hmm.
And not just this, don't get me wrong, this made me super excited to be able to see a small, maybe 50-minute show that features Silver Surfer in the far, far regions of the galaxy. But the idea that you could now have just these little mini shows to get the introduction of certain characters off of the shoulders of big motion pictures. So that means when your motion picture comes out that features this brand new character that has already been introduced on Disney Plus,
Mm-hmm.
you now can just focus 100% on your story.
Yes.
How many times have we seen like, oh, they're doing the origin of Batman again? Oh, they're doing the origin of Spider-Man, of Superman, of any of these big characters. Again, we don't want to hear that story.
Mm-hmm.
We want to see them move forward. And this is something that is going to allow them to do that.
Yeah.
And I'm super excited to see them.
Yeah. Now, again, this right here, this topic, it is not confirmed by Marvel or Disney. So we're treating it as a rumor. The source of it was, I'm trying to remember the website, Cosmic Circus, I believe. Thank you to MK who dropped it in the Discord. So, like, we're not sure, but we're talking about it as a possibility. Would it be great? Yeah, exactly. To all the points that Dustin just named, that would be great. It would give us more time in the actual movie to spend with the character telling whatever story they're meant to tell versus like spending 15 minutes or longer to build out their origin. Something that I kind of, you know, with Black Adam, which is now in theaters, and if you guys want to check out the review, it is available online, but it was so exposition heavy in the beginning because you got to introduce the character. He hadn't been, you know, unless you're an avid comic book reader, if any casual, like general audience who like are aware of comic book characters such as Superman, Wonder Woman, Batman, let's just say like those guys, right? They like may not even be super aware of like Shazam, but they're like, oh, I love The Rock, I'm gonna go see Black Adam. But who is this character? Who's Black Adam? They may not know. They just want to go and see The Rock be awesome in a movie. And so the movie has to do its job of introducing the character. But it was so exposition heavy up top where I was like, oh, all right. And it for me, like that made the storytelling a bit rough. The pacing was a little bit rough. Obviously, the action is insane. But imagine if they did like we were talking off camera. Dustin said, what if they did like a 10-minute, 5-minute presentation of like everything you need to know about Black Adam, and you can have like The Rock do a presentation about it because he, out of anybody, he's playing this character. He spent years getting ready for this character. He 100% knows everything there is to know about this character. Like that would be a really cool way to kind of get that out of the way, and then we just like jump into it.
To where you really just focus on a 50-minute show of him before becoming like, because what is it? The way that you explained it really hit home for me is the fact that the beginning of Black Adam is very much like a History Channel special.
It really felt a little, the narration like reminded me I was watching like a History Channel thing. I was like, oh.
So, I mean, it makes sense that just make a short little movie out of that beginning History Channel special. Of Black Adam, and then just dive into the movie. So that means you don't need to have all of this exposition in your movie. You can just have it all set and ready and tell this amazing story.
This as well right here, Monterato points this out. I've been hearing, guys, we're not going to talk spoilers for Black Adam because it's just now in theaters. Like people are just going out to see it this weekend. I cannot spoil anything for you. So please don't put that in the chat. Be respectful for the people who haven't had a chance to go see it because everybody's working, got busy lives. Monterato says, I've been hearing a lot of complaints while people liked the Justice Society in Black Adam, they got no background story on them, which felt really odd. I love the Justice Society. I freaking love them. They're so cool. But yeah, I
but imagine a 50-minute special presentation on HBO Max that just did a quick little story, like a little glimpse of them. So you got a little bit more background on them. And then you got to see them in Black Adam.
Avengers Legends. That's it. That's
Oh,
so on
that's what
Disney
it
Plus.
is.
I hate comparing the two properties because they stand very well on their own, and I don't like to like compete or like one's better or the other because I love both. But Marvel for Disney Plus, Marvel does a thing where before a new Disney Plus show comes out for Hawkeye, for example, they'll give like Marvel Legends Hawkeye, and it'll kind of like a recap of who Hawkeye is and what he's done so far within the MCU. HBO could be a tool that WBD utilizes for something like this. Like, who are the JSA? And they can do, even they can insert like comic book images in there if they don't want to put the images from the movies in there to keep that kind of a secret. Like that, imagine having one for Black Adam and one for the Justice Society. Like that would be, I think I said Justice League by accident, sorry, Justice Society. Like that would be freaking cool.
Yeah.
Or like a standalone one for Atom Smasher, one for Hawkman, one for Dr. Fate, one for Cyclone. Like that would be super cool. Because then they have a whole category of like things, and it's just content on your streaming platform that people would 100% go to.
And right now, that's what everyone's going for, is that content.
And it could be short form, 5-minute done.
Yeah.
If you get a really good script and good presentation, we know DC can do really good presentation. We've seen DC fandom.
Oh, the first fandom was amazing.
We've seen it. Production value is excellent. All right. Anyways, so that's what we're thinking. If we get this, it'll be great. And we love to see them doing more of that moving forward, because Werewolf by Night is amazing.
Yeah.
Also, a couple of y'all mentioned in the chat that Nova potentially could be a Disney Plus.
I remember hearing that rumor too.
Yeah.
Which makes it super exciting that this is hopefully going to become a regular thing. That we'll get the TV shows, we'll get these short 50-minute specials, and we're also going to get probably direct to Disney Plus movies. The content is now so wide and vast that they can make on all of these different properties.
Yeah,
I am loving it. Give me more content. We can never have enough.
Yes, 100%. And with that, we're going to go ahead and move on to our next topic, which is, we're going to not spend too long on this because we are not caught up and we don't want spoilers. So please don't.
Please don't spoil it. Anything for HotD in the chat.
Yeah. So apparently the finale that is set to air this Sunday on HBO Max for House of the Dragon has unfortunately leaked on illegal torrent websites. And it is just... I really hate that. I really do. I don't understand the pleasure of leaking something. I also don't understand, like, I understand the you want to see the show so bad, you get to see it before everybody else. But apparently the quality of it isn't even as, like, it's not like the pristine quality.
I'd much rather wait.
I would rather wait and enjoy it, for what it is worth, versus like downloading it on whatever website. And what's funny about this article, though, again, we're not caught up. We haven't even seen episode 2, so don't say anything about the show. But what's funny is, and we're not going to say this, but in the article that talks about the leak, they're like, oh, that sucks that it leaked, and they're reporting on it. And then at the very last sentence, like, here's the title for the Sunday's episode. I was like, well, no. Why?
Like, they could not. They're like, it's a sham that this got leaked. It is so bad that it's now on all of these illegal websites. By the way, here's the title of the episode, and it's like,
God.
they could not resist dipping their toe into that spoiler territory.
Late to the party is here, guys. Throw some popcorn in the chat for Late to the Party. Late to the Party said quality is amazing, actually. Okay.
Our quality, or like our video quality?
No, I think they're talking about the HotD finale quality.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. MK says this: the distribution partner accidentally released the episode early. And here is what the quote is from the HBO spokesperson. Quote, "We are aware of the 10th episode of House of the Dragon has been posted on illegal torrent sites.
We are aware.
It appears to have originated from a distribution partner in the EMEA region. HBO is aggressively monitoring and pulling these copies from the internet. We are disappointed that this unlawful action has disrupted the viewing experience for loyal fans of the show, who will get to see a pristine version of the episode when it premieres on Sunday on HBO and HBO Max, where it will stream exclusively in 4K. Ooh, I love that.
Get some of that 4K action.
Yes.
Especially 4K dragons.
Yes, 4K dragons. 4K Daemon. All right. That's all we're gonna talk about because again, I don't if people happen to like seen it, like I don't want leaks. So
yeah, and we do have before we move on to our spoiler talk for Andor, we do have one more super chat to dive into, and then we will be talking spoilers for Andor. For Andor.
We'll do it live, guys.
Sorry. That's what happens when you drink and then are trying to talk.
All right, J Master writes. I wish we were on Twitch because I would tell people to clip that. You can't do it on YouTube. All right, J Master, thank you so much.
I'm so glad that we can't.
Thank you so much for your super chat. Writes. Jay writes. Disney, I can't even freaking read. I'm so distracted. Okay. Husa.
Here, Disney Plus is releasing 3 episodes of Marvel Studio Legends before Wakanda Forever releases in theaters.
Do all of those 3 episodes make you cry? Do you bring tissue? Probably.
Yeah, probably. And from what I'm hearing, yeah, that's exactly what the movie Black Panther is going to do. It's just make you cry, sob, and I am so excited for this movie. Would you
I'm sorry. I'm reading your comments. Let me turn it off.
No, it's okay. It's okay. You can do it. It's part of the fun. But I am so excited for Wakanda.
You got nothing on Laura Bailey though.
Oh my gosh.
Critical Role.
If anyone watches Critical Role, there was a moment, I think in like episode 31? 30 or 31, and she's just like completely forgot that they're recording and just full out like, what is it? Did you see those girls that drink the what is it called? The Sprite, like the clear Sprite.
Yeah.
And then they're like, oh, I can't stand this. And then she looks like, brrr.
It's like a demon coming out of her body. Yeah, that was nothing in comparison to that.
So yeah, that was just a little burp.
Yes, just a little
bit. Yeah, super excited for Wakanda Forever and cannot wait to see this movie. I'm like opening night, ladies and gentlemen.
Yes, let's do it.
Make it so. I want this to be the highest grossing movie of all times. Beat out those blue people for Avatar. Because I think Avatar is still the number one box office.
It went back up, I think, because it got re-released.
Because he cheated and brought it back out.
They can do the same thing for Black Panther 1. Bring it back out. Bring it back out. Let's go. I would pay to see that again. I don't care.
I would love to see Black Panther Wakanda Forever just destroy the box office records.
Mm-hmm. Oh, man. All right. I don't remember what I was doing.
We were moving on to our...
Yes.
Andor
Wait,
spoilers.
do we answer? Yeah, Jay just let us know that there's going to be 3 Wakanda Forever, or in anticipation for the release of Wakanda Forever, they're going to have 3 new episodes on Marvel Legends, which we will look forward to, and bring tissues because you never know.
Okay, so here, do you want to guess who they're going to be? I'm assuming it's going to be Shuri. It's going to be Okoye and M'Baku.
Feel like M'Baku will definitely get one. I feel like Shuri will probably get one. I'd love to see one on the Dora.
Oh, on the Dora in general.
Yes, and then they can highlight Okoye and some of the other. I'm sorry, the names are escaping me, but I feel like that could be the case. But I would also like Nakia to have one as well. So I don't know if they can kind of like the women of Wakanda, and they can do. The Queen, Nakia, so we will see. Just have like 10. Just every character gets one. Namor gets one. M'Baku gets one. All the Doras individually gets one.
Mm-hmm.
All right, let's go ahead and move on to this topic right here. Andor episode 7 spoiler discussion. So if you haven't seen the latest episode of Andor, possibly we have to say goodbye to you here. Unless you are okay with spoilers, then by all means, stay tuned. This episode, again, all the episodes we've been really loving. This was a more dialogue and political heavy episode.
Yes, a lot of politics in this one. And it was very much the aftermath of what happened after the big heist.
Mm-hmm.
So all of the fallout, all of the consequences, and to find out that I always mess up his name, Luthen. Luthen This is exactly what he wanted. It's not even the fact that he was really going, oh, we have to have money. It was the fact that he was like, no, I need the Empire to overreact. I need them to start closing their fist so people are starting to hurt. And so that people start going, what the hell? This is not right. We need to fight back. And finding out that that was pretty much his big plan. Not just the money, but that was to get the Empire to overreact.
I love that nothing with Andor so far, nothing is what it seems. Like they give you a moment and you're like, oh, this is the end game. And then, you know, you go to the next episode and Luthen's got probably this whole master plan that he's playing it really close to the chest. Even the people who are involved don't really know. Like we see Val talking to Luthen's assistant and they're very much like everybody's kind of, other than Luthen himself and perhaps his assistant, and even then I feel like he may hide something from her as well. Maybe. And
she's hiding stuff from him.
Probably. But it's everybody essentially is on a need to know basis, as we saw in that conversation between him and Mon Mothma. She is such a great actress. Genevieve O'Reilly is fantastic. The way she shuddered when she found out the truth. She's like, you did this? She's like, do you know what you've done? I can't do it, but like, oh, just the fear in her voice, the shock, all this emotion coming at her, and she knows she has to keep her composure, and her back was, you know, purposely placed facing the window so her driver, the people who are supposed to watch her, can't see what's going on. It is insane, and how they always talk in codes.
And the way that Luthen still kept his big presentation to make it look like he was talking about one thing, but what was coming out of his mouth was something completely different. I loved that scene.
Yes.
Between Mon Mothma and Luthen.
Yes, absolutely love it. Hey, before we go on to our continue our discussion, just want to say a quick reminder, if you've been hanging out with us for like the last an hour and 12 minutes and you've been enjoying the discussion, hit that thumbs up button, really helps us out here on YouTube. And I also want to take the moment to say hi to This Life of Ours. We got to meet, well, you didn't get to meet them, I met them in 2018's oh gosh, was it then or is it 2019? It was one of the years before COVID. Everything's a blur. But I met them
before
at D23.
Everything's a blur.
Yeah, I met them at D23 in line waiting for to like a meet and greet with Ashley Eckstein. They are lovely. They are a Disney focused channel, Disney Parks focused channel. They live stream from the park often. Very chill live streams. I lurk all the time. I just don't say anything in the chat ever because I'm like, you know, doing stuff and then I'm watching there because it makes me feel like I'm at the parks with them because they're at the Florida parks. But anyways, they're awesome, super wholesome channel. And This Life of Ours, we got MagicBands now.
MagicBands.
California's finally caught up.
There we go.
They said it was 2019. So everybody say hello to This Life of Ours. I wish we could have a little Mickey Mouse emotes.
Oh, that would be really cool.
We can't do that. I don't know. Put a calso in the
copyright
in the chat. Yeah. Late to the Party says, heads up, the soundtrack for episode 1 through 4 of Andor is available now on Spotify. Ooh. Thank you, Late to the Party. We listened to every single track yesterday. So good.
I have to admit, the music, it is very John Williams-esque. And they did a really good job on translating it over to making it a little bit darker and grittier. Mm-hmm. And the music is something that really just adds to the ambiance of Andor, and I'm really enjoying it.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you for that tidbit. So if you guys have Spotify, Apple Music, wherever you listen to music, check out the Andor soundtrack wherever available. I'm definitely going to be doing that after the show. Thank you so much to Jay Master for your super chat. Jay writes, Tony Gilroy did point out before episode 7 premiere on Disney Plus during an interview, this episode will be a self-contained episode. Now that makes sense. A lot of you guys have also commented something similar in the reaction video for episode 7. Basically, we've seen the mini arcs. There's 12 episodes total. So far, it looks like episode 1 through 3 was a mini arc. 4, 5, 6 was a mini arc. Episode 7 will be, obviously, as Jay have stated here, a self-containing episode. Then I believe 8 and 9, 9, 10, I think will be it. And then 11, 12 will be something like that. I don't remember. I have to go back and read those.
That's actually a pretty good breakdown on how to do it. Mm-hmm. And also, I'm really hoping that, what is it called? Because we got introduced to, hopefully, a next character, which is K2SO, got roughed Cassian up a little bit.
Just a little.
So, and I have to admit, this moment right here really showed just how authoritarian the Empire is actually getting. Is just how they're like, oh, you're in the wrong place at the wrong time and actually didn't do a crime. Well, we're still going to throw you in jail for 6 years.
Yes.
And you're like, we're not even going to listen to you. It doesn't matter. You're guilty. We're throwing you in jail.
Here's what I'm wondering, and this goes back to, and I could be grasping at straws. Let's just say that, because I'm often wrong about my theories, But I was saying earlier that nothing is what it may seem with Andor, because it's a spy thriller. Espionage is like the game here, right? And we also know that Val has been tasked with finding Andor, and they want some sort of silence, basically getting rid of him because he knows too much. And Andor essentially wants the same thing. He told Bix, tell your friend to forget about me. He never met me. Get me out of his head. He doesn't. Andor's like, I did it. I got paid. I returned the Kyber crystal. I am done. Like, I wash my hands of this.
And he's like, hey, you can trust me, because if I was actually a bad guy, I would not have, I would have just taken the money and left.
Skeen would have done the stuff and then betrayed each other.
He probably didn't even need Skeen. He probably gone like, hey, Skeen, that's a good idea.
He could have just flew the whole,
and he could have had a couple million credits all to himself.
Yeah, but Andor's not like that. You know, he has morals. So what I wonder is if putting him in jail and giving him that extra long sentencing may be a part of the plan. Because there's so many people who are deep undercover. Like, look at Gorn. Gorn was serving Howla 7 years under that guy, and he ended up betraying them because he was like, no, I hate them. I hate things people. So that it could be that, and again, could be totally grasping at straws here. I'm just saying nothing is what it may seem, or he could legit need to be like broken out of jail by somebody. So we will see. Another thing I really enjoyed about this episode, and again, this was a political heavy, dialogue heavy episode, and I kind of joked about this, and I was like, a lot of standing and walking, sitting and walking, very dialogue heavy. Yeah, it's actually like not the easiest thing, like in acting, like, because you have to look for the marks on you have to kind of like, you know, that's why you have rehearsals, but you can't like naturally talking to somebody and then like look for your mark, like yeah. So I was very impressed by it, and that's why we do rehearsals. But the conversation that Mom Mothma has at her dinner party at home with her old school friend Tay, who is a banker, and we know that she has been having difficulties moving her own personal money, her own family money, having a hard time moving that around. It could be the husband, it could be people watching her and whatnot. And I
like that what she said about her husband. She's like, you don't trust him.
He's not to be trusted.
He is not to be trusted.
Don't tell him. He doesn't know.
He doesn't. That's what it was.
Yeah.
He doesn't know. He is not to be trusted. And it's one of those things that you're like, that's when you're like, oh, that's when I think that's when the gears started to move a lot more in Tay's head, going, oh, my image of you is completely wrong.
Yeah. Oh, man.
That was a really good, it was a tense scene because you're sitting here going, oh no. She's going to trust him. It's going to be a bad decision. Don't trust him. But yet then you're like, oh, okay. Trust him. He seems like he's on your side.
Yeah. So I just like that Tay didn't directly say to Mom Mothma where he falls politically, but he hinted at, I am on the far side of the politics. Yeah. And I think she was so happy to hear that. But she had to contain all of it, right? And, you know, she's like, smile, pretend like we're reminiscing about our school days, this and that. And she's just gotten so good at, her and Bale both are excellent at this, like, espionage, playing both sides. And that's why she chooses to be that annoying senator and having, like, what people may seem frivolous, like, of like, funding this outreach program and that outreach program, but it's all just an act and a cover, and I freaking love that. I love Mom Mothma, and I love her fashion.
Yeah, I have to. Yeah, she looks. I mean, the dresses that she has, I have to admit, are just gorgeous. And I'm like, high fashion. I'm like, whoever they have as their designer on the show is doing an amazing job. And this is something else that they really presented very well in this episode, is how just vast the alien species are
Yeah.
on this planet.
Yeah.
I mean, not just planet, but in this universe. They had so many different aliens, so many different outfits, it made you feel like you have all of these different cultures a part of the story. And I really enjoyed that.
Absolutely. Hey, before we move on with our conversation, this life of ours, thank you so much for your super chat and your support. Keep up
Thank you
the
so
great work.
much.
And you guys keep up with I mean, you do great work, and I fully enjoy their channel so much. If you guys love Disney park stuff, if you can't be at Disney World but you want to be, check out their channel because they live stream so often. It's kind of fantastic. Like I don't have FOMO because I watch their stuff. Thank you so much for your support. And this life is ours. It says, yes, her fashion is on point. It really is. Yeah. I actually I messaged Molly Damon for Star Wars Explains. Molly, I mean it's Alex and Molly, but I was like, she's straight up, that entire fashion reminded me of you. I was like, Molly, please make this exact cosplay. Okay, and we have another super chat from J Master, and I wanted to get to this, and then there's a couple of comments about K2SO units, so I want to get to those as well. Jay writes, I totally freaked out and screamed after those 3 mentions of Emperor Palpatine. How did you feel after all that?
I was excited to have a name drop like that. It's like that, he's in the universe. He's active. He's doing things. So people are going to talk about the Emperor.
Yes.
It makes sense that they would mention him. And I'm surprised that it actually took like 7 episodes for them to actually do that little bit of a name drop. But it's also at this point where the Emperor would start.
It makes sense.
Would start putting his foot down on certain things, making decisions on. We are now going to be a little bit more ruthless.
Good.
Put them in prison. Oh, you got the...
Good.
Yes, Wendy joins the dark side.
Oh man. Oh gosh, I had another point. Yes, there was the other the Imperial officer who was, I think he's more than an officer, who was at the beginning of the episode, you from Clone Wars.
Oh, yeah. I can't remember his name.
Somebody pointed that out to us because we were watching without captions, and they're like, you guys, you realize? And I was like, oh, so thank you for whoever pointed that out in the comments. So that was great. Let's get to some K2SO stuff. So Cyber Goblin writes, that might not be K2SO. There are a few of those droids on the beach. So that is true. Very much true. But I feel like this is potentially a way to introduce, for the show to introduce those units to Andor. Yes. So because we know he modifies it, and that's how we get to meet K2 as the K2 that we know and love in Rogue One. So I don't know if that specific one that is like choking him against the wall is our K2, because they're droids, so they all look essentially identical. But so it may not be that one. It could be. I don't know. But I do love that they showed it regardless, knowing what we know and what we get to see in Rogue One. Soccer TL writes, do we know that was K2SO? There are a couple of K2 units shown. Yeah. Yes. And we're also,
someone else says it too, that, there it is, that K2SO is actually not going to be introduced.
Our K2, not the units.
No, what is it called? The Alan Tudyk K2SO will not be introduced in this episode, in this season. But
K2Dyk SO.
I love it. We're keeping it. It is now K2Dyk. But I mean, I can't wait for us to actually get him. Yeah. And also wondering if they will get Alan Tudyk to come back as K2SO, because I have to admit that was one of the best parts of Rogue One was their relationship. Yeah. And I cannot wait to see it.
Yes. Oh man. Yeah. I'm just liking the show, and they're just giving us little and little at a time. And don't forget, we will get a season 2 with another 12 episodes. So that's very, very exciting. I want to talk about the Imperial stuff.
Yes.
Because what happened with Deidre was, it was kind of like, I don't love the Imperial, obviously, but I kind of love that she won. You know, because she was fighting so hard because she like understands. She's like, something is happening here. We need to look into it. Nobody was listening to her. They're all belittling her. They're like, why don't you focus on whatever you're doing? And she was like, just give me the reports on Ferrix. Like, I'm trying to follow a trail. And what we what we're being shown whenever we go to, you know, the Imperial officers is that they're not much of team players with each other at all. They're all like kind of, yeah, I'll team play as long as
It
it benefits me in the end. And if I backstab you to get ahead, then I will do it. And they do everything through intimidation.
Exactly.
Everything through intimidation.
It is ruthlessly climbing the corporate ladder. You know, you don't care who you step on, who you have to backstab, who you have to throw under the bus. And I think that's one of the biggest flaws for the Empire is the fact that they're willing to sacrifice their own for their own political gain. So I think that shows that the Empire was always doomed to fail. Is the fact that when you have a political system that is constantly oppressing their populace, no matter how hard you oppress them, you are going to get people that rise up. Yeah. And if you have a political faction that is constantly, I don't care about my fellow people that are on my team, as long as I climb the ladder, then you're going to have that infighting with that outward threat. So it's always going to fail.
Yeah. Yeah. So this show's just so interesting. No, this one wasn't super action packed. And I don't know if I don't necessarily like need every single episode to be action packed. I think that that's why the previous episode was so impactful, because it was like all of it, because it was building up to something. And I like that this was a self-containing episode. It very much felt like it. And I like that, even if it was just standing, walking, talking.
Yeah, exactly.
Sitting and talking, standing and talking, walking and talking.
Walking and talking, yeah.
Yeah, on the beach, running and talking.
There was one thing that made me chuckle, I think, at a very not funny part, was the simple, what is it called? They did like one of those swipes.
Like the classic Star Wars?
The classic Star Wars, or what is it called? The what they did a lot in the prequels.
Yeah.
It just did it did like one of those swipes to the middle, and I was just like, ha, Star Wars swipe. You'll probably see it in there.
I don't remember it, but I also don't remember anything I did 10 minutes ago. We have another super chat from Jay.
Jay, thank you so much,
Jay,
man.
Thank you. Jay writes, so John Campea points, sorry, I don't have my eyes in, so I'm like squinting. So John Campea point this out, that Andor feels like an HBO show that doesn't feel like a Star Wars, which was very interesting.
You know, because Andor isn't really feeling like a Star Wars.
Because there's no Jedi.
Movie. There's no Jedi. There's no Sith.
Yeah.
There's no big.
It's very human. Sorry.
There's no big galactic battle scene. So it's very grounded, and it's very small focused. It's focused on a specific person, on a specific story arc. So it makes sense that, yeah, it doesn't feel like Star Wars, because in every single Star Wars movie show, there usually is Sith, Jedi, big galactic battle.
And like creatures.
Creatures
as main characters. I see a couple of you guys talking about this in the chat. Rogue One and Andor is very human based. Like all the main characters, Mos Mothma, Luthen, Bix, Marva, Andor. Who else have we met?
Well, all of the Mara, not Mara, Marva.
Yeah, all of them. They're all human. So we do see alien life. They make sure when they are, filling up the background, they do have those creatures, but none of them are, core main characters as of yet. So maybe that's why it doesn't feel Star Warsy, like you said. There's no
and that does make a lot of sense.
Yeah.
And honestly, now that someone points that out to me, and I hear it a lot in the chat, you're right. Even though I see a lot of aliens in the background, none of them are main characters. None of them are focused on. None of them are actual, like, really being that much interacted with. Even in episode 1, where the guy's asking Andor for his money, and that big alien stands behind him, and he's like, "What? You told me I just had to stand here and be intimidating." That's all he did, is stand there and look intimidating. I would love to see more aliens being lead role or big supporting roles in the show.
Yeah. But nonetheless, I freaking love it. I think, honestly, we love the technology of the volume, the ease of access it is for production.
Yeah.
To, you don't have to worry about lighting, weather, or not, well, maybe a little weather if it's like a bad storm or something like that. But you essentially don't have to worry about too much the environment stuff when you're filming in the volume. But just something about filming on location it's because it's real and tangible, and it just looks so much better, if you will.
Yeah.
And I'm not trying to knock the Mandalorian, because we freaking love that show. We can't wait for season 3. But the
volume is good for big, vast environments. But when you're dealing with an urban setting where you have a lot of buildings that you have to go through, you have a lot of twists and turns, which Andor has. I think being on a practical set is a lot better to film that than, say, the volume. To where the volume, when you have to really worry about lighting, that is lighting and vast like landscapes. And in a sense, when you have a lot more depth. But when you're in urban settings, you have all of these close-up shots. You have to see the texture on the buildings. You have to see that, oh, this building across the way actually has windows and movement going on in it. So depending on what you're shooting, the volume is going to be the best, or being a practical set is going to be best.
Yeah, absolutely. We're loving the show. And what's kind of cool about the show is when we end, especially after 7, since it's a very self-contained episode, like, what's next? What do we see next? So obviously, Andor is going to have to get bailed out or escape from jail. But how does he do that? And who helps him, if anybody? What happens with like Marva and Bix, because he straight up was like, he can't come back because people are angry with him. His own like townspeople, which is kind of sad. Are we going to get more flashback of Clem, of what happened to him in the square? Because they showed a little bit of that.
Yeah,
that was awful to see. But again, it's very much a part of Andor's story and history. So I think they will give us.
And we still don't know what happened on Kenari. We still don't know what happened to that mining operation.
Oh, yes.
And I guess when Luthen talked about his dad being hung, they were talking about Clem. So, I mean, there's still a lot of things that need to be revealed, and I'm excited to hear this story.
Yeah, me too. We're loving the show, and of course, next week we will be back to talk more about Andor and probably the Tales of the Jedi.
Yes,
which is very exciting. So it'll be probably a Star Wars centric focused episode.
Star Wars.
Yeah, live stream next Saturday. Next Wednesday, I am not sure if we're gonna do a live stream. TBD on this.
Oh yeah, because
I have that.
You're not gonna. You might not be available.
I may not be available, but TBD. I'll put it in Discord, and I'll put it on the community post as well. We have another super chat from Jay.
Jay, thank you so much, man.
Jay, thank you so much for the support. Jay writes, Andor just hyped me up even more for the Acolytes Disney Plus show to see the Dark Sith point of view taking place at the end of the High Republic. You are looking so much forward to that.
Oh yeah,
yeah.
I really want to hear that story too. The thing is that one thing that did turn me off a little bit about Acolyte is that I recently read the book, the Darth Plagueis book. And that does take place, it's Darth Plagueis and Darth Sidious, how they got together, how Darth Sidious took over, and their whole plans for the Sith. I have to admit, it was very, very political. It was a little long. The story kind of drug out a little bit, but there's a lot of interesting little tidbits in there about Sith ideology and how the Sith were starting to change their tactics around the time of Darth Plagueis, and to go back all the way to the High Republic to see when it was very strong, the rule of two. And a little bit closer to the ideology of Darth Bane makes me excited. So I'm really curious to see who are the two Sith Lord that they focus on and what's the story that they're going to be telling in Acolyte.
Yeah. Are you finished with the book, or are you still reading it?
I finished it.
Okay. Nice.
And something that I just found out.
Do you recommend?
It is. There are a lot of parts where I was getting a little bored in the book. One thing that I did find interesting was the beginning and the end. The middle I found to be, it kind of dragged on a little bit. But the ending was very interesting because you found out that Darth Plagueis was still alive during the Phantom Menace. Darth Plagueis did not die until around the end of, what is it called? Around the end of the movie, around the end of Phantom Menace. And I was like, oh, I thought he had died a lot sooner. So the book kind of lays out a little bit more of that timeline and fills it out a little bit more.
Nice. There you go. Packer Ty just joined us in the chat. Says, hello, movie couple. Love your channel, reactions, and reviews. Thank you so much.
Thanks for joining us.
The last episode of Andor was very interesting, and maybe the next episode we'll see Andor and K2SOE. What do you think? We actually talked about that a little bit earlier. So I believe, if my knowledge is correct, maybe it's not, but maybe I know that the K2 that we come to know and love in Rogue One is of the K2 unit, but that Andor modified, because as you can see, these units are quite hostile.
Yeah.
And not going to befriend somebody like Andor. They're there to kind of like do the bidding of the shore trooper orders, and just dole out whatever it is that needs to be, keep order, if you will. So yeah, and it's also said that they're not supposed to meet this season. So
yeah,
more of season 2. But I like that they established that unit exists.
Yeah, and also I wouldn't be surprised if they might show at the season finale they happen to have a K2S droid that is incapacitated in the back that Andor's working on. So they won't really introduce them because he's still being refurbished, so to speak. But we'll get like, hey, this is going to be in season 2.
Yeah. That'd be cool.
And I'm also really hoping that in season 2, we get introduced to some more characters that are in Rogue One. So we know Saw Gerrera is going to be in this one. So he has not shown up yet.
Maybe the next one. Maybe the next one. All right, guys. Well, that's it for us for today. Thank you so much for hanging out with us. This was a very fun chat. Sorry for keeping you guys past the hour mark. I think I was too over ambitious and I put too much news up top.
But that's always
sorry
fun.
about that.
And plus, we didn't do a live stream on Wednesday, so we're kind of making up for it. And plus, there's just so much news that we want to talk about. We love geeking out with you guys. If you enjoy our talks, please hit that subscribe button. Give us a thumbs up. It helps us a lot here on the channel. We'll be having more videos coming out soon on our channel. And stay tuned. And hopefully we'll have some cool stuff coming out.
Yeah. All right. We love you guys so much. Stay healthy, stay well, eat well, do all the things, get some rest,
eat food.
And we will see you guys on maybe Wednesday. Definitely Saturday, maybe Wednesday. Bye, guys.
Bye.